Hi guys, welcome to another Gold Lap Guide. This time we take on Dragon Trail Seaside in the Toyota Supra GR3 in the latest online lap time challenge. Now I've got time currently in the top 150, so I'll show you what I did to achieve that. This is quite a technical circuit and there's lots of little details I want to share with you, including tackling the chicane of death. So stick around to the end, I'm sure you'll pick up a few helpful tips. Now you've got a free choice of GR3 cars in this, all on Racing Hard Tyres. I've gone with the Supra, it seems to be the most popular choice. So starting the lap, go down the middle of the circuit, you don't have to go to the left as it's flat out and we can take some distance off the track. First braking point is around the 150 marker or where the curb on the right starts, and we're going to brake down into second gear. Now this is a downhill braking point, so the braking distance will be slightly longer. So going down towards the apex, down to second gear, we're going to take a bit of curb on the left hand side, not too much, because it'll unsettle the car. Flick it back up to third gear, just on the exit of that. Take a bit of this curb as well, and try and get on the power as early as you possibly can to get down this straight. Now to get a bit greedy on the throttle there, but we get away with it. So coming down to the next corner, there's a little bit of rock or cliff on the left hand side there. Just before you get to that, I like to turn the car in. You might have to lift off the throttle just a little bit just to get the car to turn, but I try and stay in fifth gear with this and try and take as much speed through here as possible. So staying in fifth gear, try and take a bit of this curb, not too much because you'll unsettle the car, up to the next braking point. Now, I don't normally like using shadows, but it's a time trial, you can use a shadow in this, it doesn't move. The end of this shadow on the left hand side is where I like to start braking, and I'm going to brake down into first gear. You want to try and keep the car as straight as possible as you're braking at 100% to maximise the braking efficiency of the car. So hard on the brakes, down to first gear, and just around the apex I like to flick it to second and start getting on the power. Use all that curb there and all the circuit on the left hand side, including the curb, for the best exit. Now going down to this S's section, this is a bit tricky, you've got to get this right. And what I like to do is around about where this orange is on the right hand side, the orange barrier on the right hand side, or just as you pass the orange barrier on the left hand side, I like to just slightly apply the brakes. It's somewhere between sort of 50 and 75% braking pressure, and I'll flick down to fourth gear. Now our goal here is to try and maximise the last corner of these S's. If you have to compromise a corner, then compromise this first one to set the next two up. I'm in fourth gear there, flick to fifth gear, it dulls a bit of the understeer, take a bit of curb, try and make sure you're no further over to the left in the middle of the track. To set this last corner up, take the curb there, use all the circuit on the right hand side, should be full power here, all the way down to the next corner. Again, this is another downhill braking point, and I like to use somewhere around the 150 mark, or just as this curb starts on the left hand side. I'm going to brake down into first gear. So hard on the brakes, down into first gear. We're going to have a little bit of a squared off line on this one. So take as much of this curb as you can without unsettling the car, up to second gear, and flick it to third quite quickly, get the power down, aim for all the circuit on the left hand side, make sure you're using all that for the best exit. Now here we come to the chicane of death. Now this is really important, this can make or break your lap. What you want to try and do is get as close to this barrier on the right hand side as you possibly can without hitting it. If you do hit it, it'll invalidate your lap time. You need to get as close to that as possible to be able to open this next bit up. So what I like to do, just before you get to this marker post, start to come off the throttle, stay in fifth gear and come off the throttle. And we'll run through here really slowly so you can see it. So off the throttle, start to turn in earlier than you think you would. Take as much of this curb as you can without hitting the wall, graze that wall there. As soon as you get to this bit, get on the power, turn right so you miss the wall on the left hand side. You're grazing these walls as you're going through, and it'll take you a couple of goes to get this right. I'll show you how close you have to get. That's not as close as it could be. This is quite close. Turning right, we're on the power, and we just graze this wall on the way out. It's real fine margins there. If you get it right, you can make some serious time up. Going into the last corner, again we're going to go for a late apex on this one. The last braking point is around about the 125 marker, so just before this 100 marker here, we're going to brake down into second gear. And again, we're going to try a squared off line or a late apex to try and maximise the straight which follows this corner. So again, hard on the brakes, down to second gear, late apex this corner, get up to third when you start to get the car turned in, before the apex, get on the power, use all that circuit on the left hand side. Be careful, the car will spin if you're in this car, it's very lively on the rears. Stick to the left and we cross the line in a 1 minute 38.186, which is a respectable time, 1.58%. and currently as time of recording it's good enough for 107th in the world. As always guys, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this, then please do hit the like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. Now you want to make sure that you're not making these 5 sim racing sins. If you want to know what they are, click here. Thanks very much, take care, I'll see you on the next one.